What up, guys? We are randomly live right now on YouTube. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you may be. I'm Dr. Pinesett, the Premed productivity expert. And today I'm going to be answering a question that one of you guys sent me. And I thought it was a good question from Hassan. And the question was, now actually, let's read the question that Hassan sent me so I can get it right. So I can make sure I'm answering the exact question that Hassan needs. Hey, Doc, how do you handle the overwhelming pressure of medicine? The constant feeling of not being good enough, even though you can bust your behind working and still fail to reach your goals. Harpreet, what up? Sally, what up? So I think it's a really good question. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like early on in my career, I struggled, especially being a first generation student, especially being a Black student. I felt like I wasn't good enough at points. And I felt like my inability to believe in myself and to believe that I was good enough prevented me in a lot of situations from being good enough. And I don't know if you guys experienced that at all, but that's something that I think is widespread amongst all of us. And one of the big things that students send me all the time is overcoming that self-doubt, overcoming the anxiety, overcoming the fear that you might not reach your goals. And it's a very prevalent thing, and it's a very powerfully inhibitory thing to not believe that you can make it. And I often talk about this, but so many different ways that impacts your journey to wherever you want to go, whether it's medical school or wherever you want to go. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have confidence in yourself, if you're constantly doubting yourself, you're not going to make it. And it happens in so many different aspects of your life. But the number one thing it does is oftentimes you will not go for things that you should go for because you don't believe that you can do it. And for medical school admissions, right, one of the ways this happens is people don't apply to the top schools. They don't feel like they're good enough. But you can't get in if you don't apply. The same thing happens with your studying. When you don't believe, and you guys, right, comment right now if this is you. When you know that, when you know or you feel in your mind that you're not going to be able to do well on the test, what do? When you feel like you're not going to be able to do well on the test, all hope is lost for a class, what do? Kayla, I'm so glad you're catching me live for the first time. Floyd, what up? Marina, what up? Elizabeth? So what do you guys think about that? If you feel like, man, I can't get through this test, this teacher's too hard, this test is too hard, I can't keep up with the material, they've got this advantage. When you feel that way about something, what do? Floyd says you give up. McKay says an exit strategy. Marina says you don't do well. It's all internal, right? Yes, I am back, Jay. Harpreet said panic. You fold. And that's exactly what happens. We all know it, right? When you don't believe that you can achieve, what do? You step back because you're like, it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my effort. And it's one of the leading reasons why you guys procrastinate so much. It's because you doubt that even if I were to study tonight, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change how my test comes out. I'm just not going to do it. And that's what we say to ourselves, right? Or you know what? It's not really going to affect my grade, so I'll just do it later. And we push it to the back of our minds thinking it doesn't matter whether I do it now when I'm wide awake and fresh, or if I do it late at night when I'm tired, because either way I'm going to fail the class, or either way I'm going to come up short of my goals. And that's how you guys approach your academic lives. And it's disastrous in so many different ways. I can't even get into it. So how do we go from that place of self-doubt, from uncertainty, to a place of confidence? How do we do that? How is Dr. Pinesett, right? How am I so confident that people call me arrogant and pompous and I don't even know all the negative words that people use about me because I believe in myself? How do you go from where you are to where I am? And yes, my finger is busted up. I was arguing with a patient last night. I got called to do an intubation on a combative patient. And sure enough, she was combative. And she busted my finger. I tore some of the structures here in my finger. And so I'm supposed to have like the big old crazy thing on, but I'm not doing all that. I need my hands. So I got this little one on. I settled on this one. So hopefully it heals okay. And hopefully I'm not like, you call me 9-finger Eddie or something like that next week. They're taking one of my fingers away. But How do you go, guys? This, it's not rhetorical. I want you guys to respond and interact here with me. If you guys feel where I'm at right now, if you understand where we're going with this, if you understand if this relates to you, like the video right now. And then I want you to comment, how do you think you go from uncertain to anxious to all these things you guys feel about your academics to a place of 100% confident where you know you can do it, where you believe in yourself? How do you get there? We will not advance in this lecture until you guys start answering this question. I know it's a tough question, right? Because this is where we all lose it, right? And this is the same exact thing when people try to compare me to other people talking about pre-med or studying, all kind of stuff. It's because it's easy to say the what, right? So, oh, I feel bad about myself. It's easy to tell somebody, oh, just feel better, right? And I had a student call me earlier this week and was like, Dr. P, I got to call you because I just had a long distance or a long-term relationship just break up. It was 5+ years of my life. I'm devastated right now. I can't focus on my secondary applications. What should I do? And it's easy to say, oh, just don't think about that girl. Just apply, right? That's the easy thing to say. The harder thing, and why he was calling me, is the how, right? Because everything is easy to say, oh, get straight A's. Oh, believe in yourself. Oh, have confidence. Oh, don't let people hurt your feelings. But how do we actually do that? McKay says, memories of past failures act as a catalyst for the doubt in that present moment. I agree. Come on, y'all. Answer this question. I want more comments right now. I want people to tell me, what do you think you have to do to go from where you are to where I am? Not in terms of success, anything like that, just belief. Because I believe in myself 110%. I couldn't believe in myself any more than I do everything I pursue. What's the difference? And while I wait for you guys to do that, I'll send you guys a little head nod here. The website is back. It's premedproductivity.com. Courses are back open. And also we're having a free study webinar this Saturday. It'll be 2 hours of amazing, life-changing study strategies and things for you this Saturday. The link to register is in the box below this video. You can also see the link is on my Facebook page, on my Instagram. It's everywhere. So make sure you guys register for that webinar. It's totally free. It's going to be awesome. It's 2 hours of high yield study magic. Okay. So McKay said, memories of past failures act as a catalyst for doubt in the present moment. David said, I meditate with some smooth music and then come back to my studies. So this is important. So we're going to talk about both these things. So we're going to get to all these other comments. I think appreciate you guys commenting. But McKay says, memories of past failures act as a catalyst for the doubt at the present moment. Who else can relate to that? Who feels like McKay is right and hit on the head that, man, I failed so many times in the past. I've tried so hard. I put in so much effort. I couldn't put any more. I was exhausted. I was with all these things. And I still came up short. So how can this time be any different? And before I hit that, I want to hit David's comment about meditating. And I'm a mindfulness person. I meditate. I collect my thoughts all the time. But what I will say about meditation, much like thinking about anything else, is that the thinking doesn't always overcome your ability to do something unless you have, right, a method for doing it. So for example, if I have doubt because in the past I have failed and my study skills are lacking and I feel that way, then if I meditate for 30 minutes and become calm, and then I go back to studying, I'm still in that same boat where I know I failed in the past and I don't have the skills to get the grade I need. And so I'm not therefore going to be in a more confident position. I'll be a calm, right? I won't be as anxious, but I will still be completely uncertain of the outcome. And I will still doubt myself, but I'll just be calm and well meditated while I do it. And what McKay is saying is one of the biggest things for you guys is these past failures. How do you stop a past failure from occurring again? So, oh man, I've had so many failures in past classes. How do you then make it different? And I think I said the key word there is different. If you're going to make the outcome different, you have to make the process different. If you failed before, it says that something about your studying, your motivation, your skills, your strategies, your habits, there's some aspect of your studying that is preventing you from being successful. Therefore, you must upgrade yourself. Because you can't have, if you know you're a low quality student, how could you have confidence in yourself that you could be a high quality student? It doesn't equate. Therefore, you have to upgrade yourself as a student, and you must be able to do something different. You're going to do something different if you know something different. And it's just like with medical school admissions, and it frustrates me to no end, and it's why I've kind of backed away from social media, is because I know you guys think that social media is the ends of the earth, and that everything you need to be great is found on social media. But the reality is it's not, because that's the basis low standard that every person has access to. So if you want to rise above that pack, you have to go beyond that. That's the reality, right? It's why we go to high-priced universities. Because yes, there's tons of information available on the internet, but there's something about, right, being in a university environment and taking yourself to another level that's different. It just is. So I encourage you guys to start there with stop telling yourself like, oh, everything I ever need to succeed is within me. Because someone said, look inside yourself. Yeah, you can look inside yourself. But sometimes you don't have inside yourself currently what it takes to be successful. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, because that's appropriate doubt, right? That's appropriate self-efficacy, knowing, listen, man, I ain't where I need to be. But now the next question is, no, I shouldn't shut it down and be unmotivated. I should be motivated to figure out what I need to do to have what it takes within me. And this was my story, and you guys have heard it 1,000 times, but I was a remedial student, and that's fine. I acknowledged it, and it hurt and it stung to admit it to myself. But once the sting stopped, it actually was incredibly a happy, joy feeling, because I recognized, oh my gosh, I see the problem. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm missing this skill. Okay, so now I know the way, because now all I have to do is go get that skill, get that strategy, get that know-how, put that into practice. Stop. But I knew the how because I identified the what in that gap, and I acknowledged it to myself. And I didn't lie to myself. So if you've had past failures, analyze them critically and say what went wrong, as opposed to saying, oh, I didn't get the grade. It's the teacher's fault. It's his fault. Analyze what actually went wrong, and then make a change, make a difference, make an improvement, and recognizing whether it's within you or it's without you, right? Is it inside of you or is it not inside of you to get there? And if it's not inside of you, who do you need to talk to? What do you need to read? What do you need to study to actually be able to get it inside you? Does that make sense, McKay? Sally said, when you can identify your strengths and weaknesses, you put yourself in a position to achieve progress and therefore confidence. Sally, you're exactly right. And it's funny. I just sort of said that, and then I see your comment here. Exactly. We have to be confident enough in ourselves and comfortable enough to be vulnerable and to identify our weaknesses. And here's the other thing that happens sometimes. I don't know if you guys experience this. You ever try to tell somebody that they're slipping and they get mad at you? Hey, you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. And they get mad at you. Hey, you're not going to be successful doing that. And they get mad at you, and they get upset with you, and they get bothered with you, and they don't want to hear you, and they cut you off. Right? Oh, that's not the proper. Oh, okay. I'll just keep my opinion to myself. Right? How many times? And what this shows is something that's so important, is that you need other people to sometimes show you your blind spots, because we often can't see our own blind spots. Does that make sense? we go around and we do things, and we can't accurately see the reality of what the problem is. And I don't know if you guys have seen that show Hoarders, but I used to love that show Hoarders on TLC. And it's these people who they literally keep anything and everything they can in their house. They never throw anything away. And when people come over like, man, this is crazy. This is unsafe. How can you live in these conditions? They can't even see the mess. They're like, oh, well, here's my sink. And yet the sink has dishes piled up. There's roaches everywhere. They can't even see the flaw, even though it's obvious to everybody else. There's dirty diapers. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, no, my place is perfectly clean. I need all this stuff. It's not trash. They can't see it. And so what you need to do is surround yourself by other people who can point out your blind spots, but then not be negative to you until you can't do it, but say, hey, you're missing this. You're messing up here. Do this. They give you the alternative to improve yourself. Lauren said, just do it regardless. Incentivize yourself. Yes, incentivize yourself. Motivate yourself. How many of you guys punish yourself for bad behaviors, but you don't reward yourself for your good behaviors? How many of you guys are extremely critical and badmouth yourself to yourself when you make a mistake, but you don't applaud yourself when you get it right. So for example, you go through a quarter and then you miss a day of studying and you kill yourself. You're like, gosh, I can't believe this. My life is going to be over. I can't believe I studied this. I got to do twice as hard. And then you go twice as hard and you go twice as hard the next day. And then instead of saying, oh man, I went twice as hard. That was so great. I'm such a great student. I'm improving so much. Let's just keep this positivity going. What do? You say, okay, I went hard, but it's only reason I went hard is I went soft the previous day. I'm gonna go harder again. And we punish ourselves. And all quarter we punish ourselves. Then we get the A, and then we don't even enjoy the A. We say, oh, well, that was just because of this. And next quarter's gonna be entirely different. I gotta work hard, and we don't reward ourselves. And it's self-defeating if you're constantly penalizing yourself and you're never rewarding. Do you get what I'm saying there? It's like a parent, right? If your parent's always penalizing you, you walk around on eggshells, pins and needles, because even when you get that A, right? How many of you guys have parents like that where you come home with all A's and they were like, hey, good, that's what we expect. And then if you had one B, it was like World War V at your house. And how did you feel ever? Did you ever feel good about school? Did you ever feel good about the grades? Did you ever feel good about what you were doing? Or was it just like, this is survival mode? So I'm doing this not to get killed at home. My parents chopped my head off because I got a B. It's an entirely different thing. And sometimes we take what our parents have done to us in that penalizing mentality and we carry it on ourselves as we go off on our own world and our college paths and all these things. We've never learned to reward ourselves for good behavior. We've only learned to penalize when we don't achieve. And that's not how you incentivize yourself and you motivate yourself to not procrastinate and do the right things. I'm going to scroll through the questions here. Thank you guys for commenting. If you like this video, take a second, like the video. Also, free study webinar on Saturday, guys, September 8th, 10 a.m. Link in the box to register. So Kasim said, take a look from the outside, which is what we've been talking about. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And that's so true. And so everyone, I think, like, it's interesting. The internet's full of negativity, like the world's full of negativity. But so many people get on here and say all these negative things about me and whatever they want to say. But the whole point of this is none of it affects me. And the reason none of it affects me is because I know who I am. I know that I'm conceived in my own image of who I wanted to make myself. And I know my expertise. I know my success. I know my performance. I know what I can do. So I don't ever have any shame about saying I can change your life to a student. Why? Because I've proven time and time again, I can change a student's life. And so when people want to get on here and say negative things about me and put me in the same category as long as these bozos out here on YouTube, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. If you want to say that I have nothing to offer you, that's fine too. But that'll lead to your shortcoming, not mine. It doesn't affect me. Me and my students, we go on to greatness. But if you can't conceive in your mind that you are great, you'll never be great. Imagine what it takes to get on a camera with you guys every week and give you guys expertise, to put myself out there, to be vulnerable, and tell you guys about my shortcomings, about my successes, and about my life and what's going on. Imagine what that is, how nerve-wracking that must be. And I know it seems easy to you guys, right? We've been on for 18, almost 19 minutes now. Try talking for 19 minutes to a group of strangers, right? You guys, you have a 2-minute presentation in class and you're shaking your boots. But it comes from, I couldn't conceive of this and all my courses and all these things unless I had the courage to say, you know what? With this course, I'm going to change somebody's life. My study course is going to flip everything that people thought they know about studying on its head and give them an absolute system for mastering any class they've ever encountered. If I didn't conceive of that, if I didn't say that mission statement down when I made my course, like this is going to be the greatest study course ever been made, it wouldn't have gotten where it went. So until I conceive it, I can't even achieve it. I hope that makes sense. So Neil, thank you for your comment. And Ricky said a good point. Take it one step at a time. So how many of you guys, you get a bad grade and you say, oh, you know what? I got an F. Okay, now I'm going to get an A. And then when you get a B, you're upset. But you know what? I didn't study it all yesterday. I'm going to study 10 hours today. That's not a baby step. That's not setting yourself up for success. That's not what the literature shows will be effective in change and in productivity and in success, because nobody, if you're performing at one level, you can't all of a sudden be at a whole nother level immediately. You need baby steps to get there. And sometimes you can put those baby steps together quickly and in a hurry, and you can baby step a lot, but it's going to take small little things, and appreciate those little improvements. Appreciate the fact that you went from an F to a B. And then say, okay, now how do I go from my B to my A? Appreciate that. Again, don't penalize yourself as you take those baby steps. Christina, what up? Ben said, how do you go from being where you are to where I am? You buy into my courses. Exactly, right? And this is another thing, right? So even people who get into my courses, not everyone who gets in my courses is successful. It's sad, I know. Not everyone who gets in my coaching is successful. It's the reality. It's the truth. Okay? But what separates those who are successful with those who aren't successful is the people who buy in. It's the buy-in factor. If you come into my courses with your preconceived beliefs and you try to hold on to those and get better with my stuff, you're not going to do it. Because what I teach is different. Because what you've been taught is to doubt yourself, is to make yourself suffer and punish yourself. And, I have to grind away at studying. I can't study smart. I got to study hard. And it sucks. And so if you take that kind of mentality to my courses, you're going to be unsuccessful. And one of the big comments I get from students is, man, the first time I took your course, I missed like 90% of the value. I've had to go back and watch it time and time and time again. Every time I watch it, I get something new out of it. And it's because every time you watch it, your mentality is changing more, and you're buying in more, and you're having that critical eye, and you're, I can be better, I can grow, I can do, and you start really understanding what's being taught in that course. So yes, I agree with you, Ben. Marina said, take long-term goals and break them down into little ones and try to accomplish them one by one, right? So again, that step-by-step mentality of, I don't want to go from an F to A, I want to go from F to a C. I want to go from a C to a B to an A. And then once I'm at an A, I want to do an A in less time, with less stress, with less cramming, with less, right? All these types of things to free yourself up more. And Neo said, the only limitation we have are the ones we put on ourselves. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Nobody can hold you back from anything, right? All the negativity that I get on the internet doesn't hold me back from doing anything, from anything positive, right? When I go out to an event and a student says, no, you're wrong. And I say, okay, great, I'm wrong. Show me how I'm wrong. Show me how I'm wrong. And without fail, they can't do it. And it's right. And they shouldn't be able to do it, right? Because I'm the expert. I'm being paid to come out. I should be bringing high value. But that's the whole point. The only limitations we place on ourselves is the ones we have we put on our own selves. And in the same side of that, I actually had a student over here a couple weeks ago. And he came over to my house and he hung out, and I was just teaching him some stuff about studying. And it was hilarious. Like, man, I'm so glad you came. We spent like 4 hours, and he hung out with my kid for a while. We played some games, whatever. So, but he was like, man, I'm so glad I came. I wasn't going to come because my cousin said not to come over. My cousin said that you aren't an inspiration, that you aren't an expert, that I should be listening to other people on YouTube like Andrea Tooley and these people because they're white. And because they're white, they actually had to earn their success. Dr. Pinesett's black. He only got in because he's black, and blah, 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 right? And all this kind of stuff. And it's not about race, but what it is about is understanding that people are going to have a perception of you. And it's not even about race. How many of you guys have been in a situation where you felt like someone was looking at you like you didn't belong? Like you didn't have what it took to be there. Like they were discrediting your ability. They were discrediting your ability to be successful. And it happens all the time in early education, is that we label students in all these different kinds of ways to tell them that, oh, you're remedial, you're retarded, you're this, you're intellectually disabled, you got ADHD, we put all these labels on students, and those become the limitations of their life, and they can only see themselves through that lens of, oh, I'm a kid with learning disability. As opposed to saying, you know what, even though I have a learning disability, you know what I can achieve through that. My learning disability will not define me. I will define me, and I will decide how far I can go and what I can achieve with myself. You guys know what I'm saying? You've got to make that shift. It's not what everybody else says about me, but what I say about myself. I got to scroll back through all these comments. Goodness. Yeah, persistence to keeping an unfailing attitude and taking failures as learning from them is key. So thank you, Justin. And self-reflection. So true, Floyd. Yeah. And Kasim, sometimes just go back to basics and remember how you got this far. And that's so true. Because, right, for you guys who are in college, right, even you guys who are in medical school, and this is a weird phenomenon. People have had success their whole lives. They get to medical school and they start to falter more than they ever had. They start to have more doubt than they ever had. There's more material. The competition's tougher. You have all these elite studiers, all this stuff, and you start to doubt yourself. And what's interesting is it is a great strategy for these moments when you go back and you look at where you started. Oh man, I could barely freaking read, and now look where I am. Oh man, I really struggled in Algebra 1. Now I'm taking Abstract Calculus 7. Look how far I've come. I'll be all right. Let's just keep taking these baby steps. This is a good line here that Truth says here. I have to remember that people who don't believe in themselves don't want to believe in yourself either. That's why whatever you do and whatever you try to achieve, that is outside of their box. It's so true. So when I tell people there's a better way to study, they're like, what? How can you be the only one who knows this way to study? And I wish there were more people who knew how to study properly, but they don't. And this is something we're going to talk about in depth on the webinar on Saturday, is that I know you guys all think you have great study skills and great study. I know you all think you're great studiers. You're not. You're not. And I can say that with confidence because I meet with every which way student ever. And I'm doing a dinner. I'll be at UC Irvine Medical School next month. I think it's next month. What month is it now? In October. And I'll be doing a dinner with their medical students. So the school brings me in. I sit down with their medical students, and we'll have dinner, we'll eat, and I'll teach them about studying. And what always never fails, they always come in skeptical. And I always ask them the first question, I say, hey, who here knows how to study? And I ask them this question. All right. And I ask them, these are medical students, right? Successful medical students got into a UC medical school. They should be knowing how to study. And they'll say, oh, yeah, I know how to study. I don't need no help. Blah, blah, blah. And then by the end of the night, they're like, dang, you're right. I didn't know how to study. Thank you so much for this. And we go on another path. But they don't even recognize, even as medical students, they don't know how to study. So if they don't know how to study, I know you guys who aren't there yet don't know how to study. And it's the reality. And we'll talk about all this stuff. It's going to be good on Saturday. Sign up for the study webinar. But you don't know how to study, I promise you. And the little bit you know about studying, because you're like, oh, yeah, why not? I got this strategy, get this strategy. There's 1,000 more things that you should be doing to make your studying that much better that you aren't doing, you don't even know about yet. And Armando has a good point also. Research and prepare enough to gain confidence in the subject. You don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. That's so true. You guys don't research. You guys don't prepare for your efforts. You just launch in, right? Oh, just jump in, kamikaze, right? Wait a minute. How can you succeed in your classes if you haven't a plan to execute for your classes? Right? It's the truth. Our intangible thoughts are manifested in the physical world. We need to have the mindset of a physician to become one. It's true, right? If I don't have, and that's what I always say, right? It's no excuses, just dominate. If you don't have a mindset to not make excuses and to dominate, then where are you going to be? If your mind is not on dominating, then how could you ever dominate? I dominate because all I think about is dominating. I can't even sleep some nights because I'm thinking, how can I be more dominant? It's the truth. It's reality. I'll go out to a school, I'll go out to university, and I'll be giving a talk, and like the next day I'm supposed to give a talk. I'm like, the night before, I'll redo an entire 300 slide PowerPoint because it's like it's an 8-hour lecture. I'll redo the entire 8-hour lecture. I'm not doing that. I'll do this whole thing. And so if you guys ever see me come to an event, I'm like, hey guys, this is the first time I've ever done this talk, so let me know what you think. It's because that night I'll redo an entire talk because I'm like, no, it could be better. It could be great. It could be dominant. Let me take it to that next level. And so you have to set your mind to these types of things. So Kayla, I'll answer your question in your email, and also I'll do another video on it. Some people can't take constructive criticism is true, right? Delusion. Yes, pre-med dominators in the house, Stephen. I am super self-critical. I took off 2 weekends from studying and ended up getting a B in biochem. Oh, in OChem. I'm still kicking myself about it, right? And so we can reward ourselves when we earn that reward. So taking a weekend off requires you doing what's required to earn that weekend. I take lots of weekends off when I was in school. Why? Because I did the work during the week to get it done. So Jalil says, I struggle for the first month of school getting back into the habit. Well, that means it's not a habit for you. And for my students, they spend the summer continuing their advancement and their improvement. So they're never out of the studying habit. And you got to do the same thing. It's a lifelong habit. Does that make sense? And someone said, I grew up with that. It was always survival mode growing up, right? When you grow up with your parents and they're coming down on you, it's survival mode and you can't get out of it. Junior, there will be a replay of the webinar. So if you guys don't know, just study webinar next Saturday, September 8th. The webinar. So you have to register for the webinar, but when you register, I'll be sending out a replay after the live session that'll be available for a week. Like the video, guys, if you like what we're talking about right now. Like this video. Oh.
Oh, I can tell if you're filming or not.
I am filming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the beauty of live, guys, is that when you have children, they don't respect the live feed. I'll be done in like a minute. So I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because my children have emerged from their slumbers. And they want to spend some time with Dad. So I'm going to go do that. But I think that for you guys, so what's so funny? So again, right, we talk about the negativity that persists in this world. So Patrick is on here, and it's not important. It's not. People always say ignore these comments, but by ignoring them, right, you allow ignorance to persist. It's very important that you address things and nip them in the butt, because if you don't have discussions about racism and discrimination and dialogue about it, it's a problem. And so Patrick, who thinks he's anonymous, and actually I think what I'm gonna start doing is, so just so you guys are all aware. So because I had skinheads come to my work and try to fight me, the FBI monitors my channel. So anybody's name I flag, I can immediately send to the FBI, and they have a full report of your entire profile, exactly who you are. So Patrick Greenwald, who thinks he's anonymous, I could send your name right now, which I will do, over to the FBI, and I'll get your full profile, and then I'm going to start putting people's information out there. So Patrick Greenwald, whatever your real name is, on my next stream, I'll put your real name out there so everybody can know the exact racist and discriminator you are. But the importance of this, guys, is that if we don't talk race relations in this country, if we don't talk sexual orientation stuff, if we don't talk about discrimination, it'll never get fixed. And like I mentioned, the student came over here, his cousin told him not to come over here because I'm black. And I didn't deserve my spot in medical schools. I took it from other people who did deserve it, right? And the joke about that is, okay, if all the blacks are taking all the spots in medical school from qualified people, then where are all the blacks at? Because there's like 3 of us. The second thing of that is, it is absolutely and completely 1,000% true that poor people and minorities in this country are at a distinct disadvantage. It's true. And it's just like we were talking about earlier, you have to acknowledge that to be able to make a change and make a difference. And I posted a video on my Instagram TV, if you guys see it earlier, it's at Dominate Premed, is that I was doing a live session at a hospital in Los Angeles, in Linwood to be precise. And much of the audience was English second language learners. And so I was talking about strategies for English second language learners. And what is so interesting is that because these English second language learners come up with people who are not English second language learners, they embody and take in those type of study strategies from the normal learner. And they don't recognize that, listen, I'm English second language. I can't approach things that way because I'm clearly disadvantaged in my language skills. And for Black students, we have to recognize that we are at disadvantage. We don't have the same economic and social resources that other ethnicities have. It's just the reality. And only by recognizing that, and like Patrick said, right, totally fair assessment. Blacks in early education are not as sharp as other ethnicities. This is what the data shows. It's the reality. We score lower on tests, lower on aptitude, lower on motivation, all those types of things in early education. We have to acknowledge it, because only through that can we then change and become more. And for me, like I said, I have no problem. There's nothing that bothers me about saying it, that I had learning issues. It doesn't bother me to say that my dad couldn't read for a good portion of his life. There's nothing bothers me about saying that, because by acknowledging that, right? And then my dad, as he got older, worked on reading every single day to make himself a better reader. And he instilled in me the importance of reading because he couldn't read for a long time. And so I then focused on that, right? He knew in himself that he could grow and get better, but he recognized his flaw and he got better. I recognized my study flaws and I got better. And so I have no shame in my game. I'm very proud of everything I've accomplished. And I encourage you guys to feel that same way, to know that when you guys achieve, it's because you achieved, not because someone else, not because someone gave you a handout. Because in this world, there truly are no handouts. This is what we find so often. It's such a rude awakening. Someone says, oh, that's not fair. This world's not fair. Guys, this world is not fair. It is unjust. It is discriminatory. It is. It is. Literally, you guys want to know how I jacked up my finger last night? This is right how life comes full circle. Last night, literally, I'm wearing this dumb thing, and they gave me this bigger one. I took that thing off. They gave me this big old clunking thing, and they also gave me like the full wrist and hand thing where both my fingers are locked up, and I can't be doing all that kind of stuff. But how did I take up my finger? We had a combative patient in the emergency department. I go down there. It turns out this combative patient is high on methamphetamine, is a neo-Nazi, whatever you want to call it, whatever. So then when I come in a situation to come intubate him, it like inflames the situation. And now he's calling me the N-word and this and the other thing and blah, blah. And then so, and all this kind of stuff, he tries to charge me. And then so I grab him and slam him on the bed. And that's how I messed up my finger. But the whole point of this is to recognize, as I recognize, that whatever you are, people are going to hate on you. Whether you're white, Asian, Hispanic, Black, any other thing you are, someone's not going to like you because of your background. Maybe it's where you're from. Are you from the South? Are you from the East? Are you from the West? Wherever you're from, someone's going to hate something about you. You have to recognize that and not let that limit you, not let that keep you from getting involved in things and working with those individuals and integrating. Because even if someone doesn't like you, it's still your job to be successful. And if you let someone's discrimination or someone's racism or someone's whatever, prejudice or hatred towards you stop you from being successful, you lost and they won. That's the truth. And so I recognized that there were people who weren't going to like me because of my color of my skin. They weren't going to want to see me succeed. They were going to want to try to say that I was only here because I was Black. And so what I had to do and work very hard to do was not just be okay, not just be good enough, but to actually really and truly dominate and be so great that the people who are really know and who matter, not the idiots like Patrick who are on the internet commenting, the people who actually make decisions, deans and teachers and professors and all these people, they knew, oh no, Andre's no joke. That guy's the real deal. That guy is the real deal. He's worked hard. He puts the effort in. He puts the time in. His projects are exceptional. His test work is amazing. All these kind of things. So that way they have no excuse to try to question me. And they also have 100% confidence in me. Does that make sense to everybody? Anything can be overcome. Anything, everything. Your disability, your race, your poverty status, whatever it is, you can be great. And you guys all have the ability to be great. Some of you guys already have the ability inside. You just have to put the action in. Some of you guys don't have the ability yet. And you've got to go outside to places like my courses or wherever, or like the free study webinar next Saturday, and get this good stuff inside you so you can reach your potential. But just sitting there having a pity party of, oh, I'm discriminated against. Oh, I'm so dumb. And oh, my learning disability. You'll never get anywhere because nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I constantly say this and people say, oh, well, people care. Like I had a video about how like if your parents die and you get bad grades in undergrad, the middle schools don't care. And people send me hate mail. Oh, I can't believe you would say that. Like parents dying do matter. And I said, yes, it does matter. It matters to you. But you know who it doesn't matter to? Medical schools. Because there's 1,000 other qualified candidates who got the grades. And that's the reality of the world. Nobody cares about whatever you're going through. The people who are evaluating. Your family, they care. Your friends care. But when it comes time to who's getting the position, they only care about, did you produce? Not about, oh, your parents died. Not about, oh, you're black and that's why you couldn't get the grades. Oh, no, nobody's going to care. They're going to look over you. Stop being a victim. Stop having pity parties and start dominating. Start being more. That's what I got to say. Anyway, this went much longer than I was anticipating, but I hope that makes sense to everybody. Is that if you want to go from being insecure and uncertain and all these things to being truly confident in yourself and cutting all that self-doubt out, it first starts with having a mind to say, listen, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be confident. I want to get that confidence. And to get that confidence, I got to have the skills and the strategies to back it up. I'm going to get those skills. I'm going to work and do whatever it takes. And I can grow and I can get better and I can find this. And I am a self-contained unit and I am in control. And it's not like people labeling with me. And there's so many things that come in, but it starts day one with saying, you know what? I can do this. But to do this, I'm going to need some help. Here are my weaknesses. Here's how I can make them strong. And I'm going to go do it no matter what it takes. No excuses. I'm just going to dominate. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. If you guys enjoyed this video, like the video, share the video, all kind of good stuff. I've got to go and hang out with my kids. But thank you guys very much for joining me in this impromptu live stream. Make sure you guys sign up. It's a free webinar next Saturday. It's 2 hours. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's going to be an opportunity to get to that next step in your academics. So don't miss out on that. I'll see you guys next Saturday, 10 a.m., September 8th. Get into that free study webinar. All right, guys. Also, hey, before we go, hey. My website, premedproductivity.com. Premedproductivity.com has courses for every single aspect of your pre-med life. Even if you're not pre-med, I have courses for you. Learn to study better. All kind of stuff. You interview people. Someone just asked a question about interviewing. What's my advice for you for interviewing? Get into my interview course because it's amazing. And also, as part of that, so actually, this is good to announce. So for the next 48 hours, I was going to end it today, but I'm live streaming today, so I'll give you guys 2 days to get into it. If you enroll in my interview course by September 4th, like 2 days from now, if you guys enroll in my interview course by September 4th, you guys will automatically be included in my free medical school interviewing boot camp session that I'm having. It's 4 weeks of mock interviews, interview strategy, live webinars with you guys to enhance your interview skills and get you guys prepared for interviews. If you enroll in the next 48 hours, you guys will be into that program for free. If you're not in my course by that time, you will have to pay an extra fee to get that interview one-on-one mock interview prep with me and my squad. So go check out the website, get into the interview course. If you have interviews coming up, sign up for the free webinar. Links in the box. I will see you guys later. Have a great day.